Hello team, how's it going? My my most niche team of anything that I do online. My team of four people who enjoy watching England football like me. But I will not stop. I said I wouldn't stop, and I won't. I'm doing this on my phone today. No one gives a fuck, Fred. Stop talking about it. But I'm going to tell you anyway. I'm doing this on my phone rather than on my lovely podcast setup because I don't play by the rules, and I have a lot to say, and I wanted to just get it out without having to set up all the shit. And also, I don't have anything to do on lineups or anything like that. First of all, so we're coming out of an international break where we're still under Lee cArSlEy's tutelage. It's his third and fourth game, and he has we lost against Greece, and then we beat Finland 3-1. Now I feel my first note is overreaction ? And what I mean by that is it overreaction ? That we are suddenly calling for Lee cArSlEy's head and he's not fit for the job and all this. Way back when, you may remember, I put Lee cArSlEy towards the very, very top of my options to take over as the full-time manager. Everyone knows that when he was appointed interim, that was the FA basically saying, here you go have a go, and if you do well, you'll keep the job. Now, he's going to have two brilliant opening games, and he's going to double down on that due to Harry Kane's injury, bearing in mind, by starting about 19 number 10s in the third game against Greece. In hindsight, foolish, yes, but beforehand, was I excited? Yes, because it did kind of scratch the itch of everyone saying, including me, saying, how can we fit all these people into one team? We're talking Palmer, Saka, Bellingham, Foden, Rice even really is in that equation. And cArSlEy kind of went, well, let's have a fucking go. Because I think he thought he was Billy Big Bollocks after the first two games and thought that he had the tactical ability. Do I have a spot on the end of my nose? Fuck me. Hello, being 12 again. I think he thought he was Billy Big Bollocks, did well in the first two games and was like, do you know what, I'm going to fucking try and just blow everything out of the water and do what no one else has ever done so far, which is going back to the Gerrard and Lampard argument, just getting all our star players in the team and it actually working. It didn't work, and he won't be trying that again, especially by the looks of the lineup in the next game where he went much more structured. Here's my two penneth on why it didn't work. Straight up, yes, I was excited, but I think I'm coming to terms with the fact that I think I've been blind to the real core of the issues with the current set of England players and the current kind of accepted wisdom on what the starting 11 should be. And that is Rice. I am a huge fan of Rice. And should Rice be on the pitch? Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. But where should he be playing? I've been lying to myself. Everyone's been saying he's playing as an 8 for Arsenal. Jorginho's the one dictating the play. And I've been like, I know, but Rice can do that. He did that. It was a similar argument to when people saying Bellingham couldn't play an 8 anymore. And I was like, but he did. It always used to confuse me. But then looking back, yes, we played well in World Cup 2022. In my opinion, the best under Southgate. But when the going got tough, did we control the game against France in its entirety? No. Going back to 2020, did we control the game against Germany, even though we beat them in the round of 16? No. Point being is, Rice has been our 6, our DM, for a while, and our ability to control games has not improved. Going back to the glory days of, when we had Lampard, Gerrard, and even Scholes, and Gareth Barry, and fucking Carrick and Hargreaves, and all this. And they're all brilliant players, but we couldn't control games in a way that a Pirlo could, a Jorginho could, and whatnot. And now you saw me in the last video on the last international break saying Angel Gomes is a revelation. Where the fuck has he been my whole life? Thank you, Lee cArSlEy, for bringing him in. So when I saw this lineup with 15 number 10s and Rice sitting, yes, I knew Trent and Rico Lewis were going to invert and help Rice out, but also they're not necessarily the types of players to dictate play either, because Rico Lewis goes beyond the DM often, and Trent inverts, but he's more like pinging passes and he's not actually good in tight spaces. So I was like, that's probably out of everything going to be a recipe for disaster. And it was. I was like, why would you not start Angel Gomes? You know, if you leave this job and don't take it and don't get it full time, at least your legacy will be, hopefully, that you've left Angel Gomes in and around the England squad. Someone who can dictate play, pop it off, be press resistant. He was an absolute revelation. So not starting him versus Greece was, in my opinion, the problem. If I had to pick two problems, it was not starting him and having two inverted fullbacks. So you had Rico Lewis and Trent going, which just left it completely exposed at the back, because Rice's instinct isn't necessarily to sit back as that kind of sweeper anymore. So I would have personally started Colwell at left back instead of Rico Lewis, even though I'm a fan of Rico Lewis, a big fan, and Angel Gomes at centre, at sitting. And, you know, whether you wanted to put Rice alongside him, probably on balance you should. And Angel Gomes should have gone in instead of probably Foden based on form. So that was a whole lot of blab just to say Lee cArSlEy took a swing, and I respect that, but it was a bit of a ridiculous swing. However, overreaction, question mark, should that be considered to be a deal-breaking decision? No, because it's bold to do that. I like that he did it. Southgate wouldn't have done it. Love Southgate, but he wouldn't. It was good to attempt it in a game that was, you know, it wasn't maybe could have picked Finland to try it, but it's worth trying in the Nations League full stop. And thirdly, he learned from his mistake and he went on to Finland, albeit an easier game, and he won. Pretty convincingly, pretty easily. I think Lee cArSlEy is tactically astute. I think he's a fast learner. I think he's progressive, and I think he's what's the word? He has ingenuity. Well, he has ingenuity in his tactics. That's not a phrase, but yeah, basically all the above. And he has won with England at under-21 stage. You've heard me say all this before. Basically, I think this doesn't mean he's suddenly not the right person for the job. If anything, it's a learning curve, and he's learned a lot in the last 10 days. And I think it'll just make him better. And then the talk is now about Tuchel. I'm not against Tuchel, because he's got a track record of going into teams and turning them round to be tournament winners in very quick time. So Chelsea in 2020, or was it 21? It was a COVID year. Best example, he went in and won the Champions League, beat Man City in the final. Like, he can turn a tournament team round. So that's great credentials, but it would be a shame to shun the St George's Park system for Tuchel just because of an experiment against Greece. So, overreaction, question mark? Yes, overreaction. Secondly, the media keep acting like we need clarity on Lee cArSlEy's position, as if Lee cArSlEy has caused the lack of clarity. Yes, his PR and communication isn't always perfect, so he does kind of seem to find different, equally vague ways of saying, I am the interim manager and I don't know what happens next. But that's not to say that the problem is caused by him, because it's not. The problem was caused by the media constantly asking the question. That's not to say they shouldn't ask the question, but what they've done is they've asked the question, listened to the answers, and then forgotten that they were the ones that brought it up. So I listened to 5 Live this morning, and they were like, do we need more clarity on the Lee cArSlEy situation? He's been very confusing on the situation. He's actually not. Do you know what's confusing everyone? Is you constantly asking him and him having a different fucking answer every time, because he's not used to being a robot like Southgate was. And I mean that in a good way. in saying the same message over and over again. So he's saying it in slightly different ways, but he's saying the same thing. I am the interim manager. I don't know what happens next. He slipped up slightly with his, like, maybe I'll go back to the under-21s and all that. But the message is the same. And they're acting like, do we need cLaRiTy? Do we need cLaRiTy? No. Nothing's changed. He's the interim manager. Yes, we all know that means he has a chance at being full-time because it happened with Southgate. It's happened before. But is he going to say anything different? No. So stop asking. It's just a waste of everyone's fucking time. And then you're all flapping around like, oh, well, there's a lack of clarity. There's not. He's the interim fucking manager. That's it. It's fine. Honestly, people. cArSlEy credentials, done that. We don't need to reiterate that. Positives, done that. He's learnt from it. We performed well. He's unlocked Grealish. I love that phrase. Unlocked Grealish. And my last note is kind of what I've already said. Whether or not cArSlEy gets this job, his legacy or his ongoing impact needs to be that Angel Gomes is a mainstay in and around the England squad. Because I can't see, other than maybe Wharton, I can't see another player who has his makeup. Someone who can snuff out attacks, but is entirely progressive and tidy and dictating play. He's a special player, and we do not have that Pirlo style player. I'm not saying he's fucking Pirlo, but he unlocks Rice, Bellingham, the inverted fullbacks. He unlocks the whole fucking thing. And I can't believe I wasn't aware of him. As someone who's a right fucking badger for England, I can't believe that I'm out here being like, oh, maybe we should start Rice and maybe Bellingham. Angel Gomes sat there the whole fucking time in League and I didn't know. So thanks, LeE, for that. And whether or not he stays, I hope Angel Gomes stays. So that's my roundup for this international break. I'll be back in November when there's another international break. I think I'm in Berlin when the actual games are on, so I'll probably post when I get back, which will be like a midweek or something. But I will be here. We're here for the long haul. We're here until World Cup 2026, where we'll be managed by, hopefully, Pep fucking Guardiola if cArSlEy pisses off. Not that I want him to, as discussed. Thank you and see you next time.